first thing that an opposing attorney or attorneys, because there could be a whole slew of them there representing multiple parties, they're trying to size you up. What do you know? Have you been down this road before? Can they trip you up? And while I'm sure there's some people in here that have done this perhaps more than I, these are some tactics, and I use tactics because I play chess as a way to, A, cut the time of the deposition down, because believe me, it's not a fun way to make money, even though you're
going to find on a lot of roofs, particularly flat roofs, but also on some steep sloping roofs, you're going to see a splash mark. And what's a splash mark? Well, a splash mark is where the impact of the hail has created a mark due to the removal of grime or dirt or some substance that's on the surface of the roof. Could be algae or whatever, but it's not that
crystallinity or mineral phase identification. X-ray diffraction is a very useful technique. This will separate crystalline compounds. You got a material corrosion product, and EDS tells you there's a lot of iron, oxygen, chlorine, and sodium in there. So what does it mean? Well, you run it by X-ray diffraction, and if the material is crystalline,
I'm going to show you something that should scare the dickens out of you. It's information about information. It is embedded in that electronic file. You will not see this data. But with the click of one button, anybody else will be able to see it. And you will produce your electronic file in its native format. You're not going to print it out and hand it to them on paper. You're going to give it to them in a CD-ROM. If you have proprietary software that
Direct mail, we do a lot of it. I think the direct mail, when we first started it in Denver, and even today, I think what it's allowed us to do, and because of our databases, is to be able to compete with the big guys. Like
a slip is basically a fall to the rear. I would say the vast majority of times, 90+%, based on my experience, will result in an injury to the rear, to the elbows, to the shoulders, even a fall to the side. Typically, a slip results in a fall to the rear. A trip, on the other hand, typically results in a fall forward. You're going to see injuries to the face, to the hands, to the wrists, to the elbows, broken glasses, this sort of thing.
Wheels, aluminum wheels, had an interesting burn pattern, and there's the other one right there. It's like a V, which led to the idea that the fire started below the car, back behind it. And part of the deal was, this is a track toe digger. It is actually a fairly simple piece of equipment in that there's not that many parts to it. There's fewer parts here than is in your automobile, as far as items that can catch fire or be hot or what have you. You've got obviously a cabin area, the mechanical system, the engine, the fuel, hydraulic motors. I want to talk about the hydraulic motors for a second. This entire vehicle,
in the coastal states, the vapor barrier on the inside creates a great deal of problems in the wall and ceiling systems, for even the floor systems, because that hot, moist air from the exterior wants to force itself in towards the cooler surfaces, the cooler, drier air on the interior, and vice versa.
Take a case history that's been closed out, sanitize it, obviously, submit that to these organizations when they put their newsletter up. It's telling your story. And there are going to be enough adjusters out there that are going to read that newsletter and see your name and see the type of claim